Rabbi Dr. Abraham Twersky was a renowned psychiatrist specializing in addiction issues, as well as being an inspiring spiritual guide. He was also a prolific writer who published dozens and dozens of books. Once he was asked, "Where did you find the time to write 31 books?" Rabbi Twersky answered, "I never wrote 31 books. I've written only one book in 31 different ways." He said that everything he wrote revolved around the topic of self-esteem. Feelings of low self-esteem lie behind numerous different kinds of problems that people experience in life. It's the culprit in so many areas of difficulty. And cultivating a healthy sense of self-esteem can be a catalyst for successfully navigating many of the challenges that come up for us in our lives. A healthy self-esteem can provide the stability and the balance to be able to stay afloat when life's waters get stormy. Self-esteem allows us to develop healthy and positive relationships. It also provides a solid foundation, allowing us to achieve success in many areas of life. And of course, the opposite is true. Feelings of worthlessness interfere with developing good relationships and certainly don't motivate us to succeed in life. Certainly, it would seem that feelings of happiness and self-esteem are interdependent. One writer characterized self-esteem as the immune system of our consciousness. You may get sick if you have a strong immune system, but you'll recover faster. So too, people with healthy self-esteem may experience emotional suffering in life, but less often than others and with faster recovery. In the 19th century, Rabbi Yisrael Salanter founded the Musar movement, which spread rapidly through Western Europe. His disciples developed 3 branches of the movement, each with its own emphasis. There was the Kelm school, the Navardic school, and the school of Slobodka. Slobodka became known for its focus on Gadlus Ha'adam, the nobility and grandeur inherent in every human being, and the need for mankind to live up to that potential. Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel, who was the Alter of Slobodka, he was the major driving force behind the Musar school of Slobodka, taught that man is even greater than the angels because we have free will. Angels are essentially programmed. They're robots. And there is no virtue in their carrying out the divine will. But humans have free will. And therefore, every time that we choose to live according to the dictates of God, to the will of God, we are reflecting the great nobility of our humanity. Of course, this message emerges straight out of the pages of the Bible itself. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, we're told that mankind was created B'Tselem Elokim, in the image of God. Like God, we have free will. We're not totally controlled by our biology or our genetics or our history or our physical impulses. The human being is a free-willed being. We share that characteristic with the Almighty. And Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 tells us that in the creation of man, God blew the soul of life into our nostrils. Unlike other sentient beings, we have a godly soul. The Torah directs us to actualize this awesome potential by living godly lives, by seeking to be like God. As the Torah says in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 9, V'halachta b'drachav, walk in his ways, which the Talmud understands to mean that just as God is generous, we should be generous. Just as God is merciful, we should be merciful. Just as God acts with loving kindness, we should act with loving kindness. And when we pattern our lives after God, when we seek what we call in Latin imitatio Dei, to imitate God, we raise ourselves up. We begin to achieve some of that incredible potential that God gave us. In Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 1, the Torah tells us, Banim atem l'Hashem Elokechem, you are the children of the Lord your God. The idea that you are a child of God is an awesome idea. Rav Tzadok HaKohen of Lublin, a Hasidic master who passed away in the year 1900, wrote in his famous work Tzidkas HaTzadik that not only must you believe in God, you have to believe in yourself as well. We have a belief that God did not make junk, and that each of us, just by virtue of the fact that we have a divine soul, we're created in the image of God, we have vast potential. And therefore we should acknowledge that and believe in our potential and seek and strive to actualize the potential that we were given. Rabbi Shlomo of Karlin, an 18th century Hasidic master, used to say that the greatest accomplishment of the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, or our inner adversary, its greatest accomplishment is to get us to forget the fact that we are the children of the King. We have to remember we're a child of the King of the universe. That means we're a somebody. We should never forget that. But there's clearly a danger lurking with all of this self-esteem. And that is that it can potentially lead to arrogance. And so Rav Simcha Bunim of Pshischa, one of the great Hasidic masters, urged everyone to strive for balance. And he said, he quipped, that a person must always have two pockets. In one pocket, there should be a piece of paper that you take out once in a while, and you read it, and it says, Bishvili nivra ha'olam. It's a quote from the Talmud, that the entire world was created for me. For me, the world was created. Meaning that since every human being is created in God's image, and God created one person at first, an Adam, that means that any person could have been that sole, single human being for which God created the whole world. God put the whole world at the feet of Adam. And in a sense, everyone has to have that feeling of responsibility. Bishvili nivra ha'olam, the whole world is my responsibility. As the Talmud says, you should see the world as perfectly balanced between virtuous and the opposite of virtue, between being guilty and being innocent. And therefore, every person should see themselves as having the ability to sway that balance. With one act, you can either sway it towards the positive or, unfortunately, to the negative. So every person has to recognize the immense role they play in the world. Bishvili nivra ha'olam. The world was created for me. But the person needs a second pocket. And in that second pocket, there should be a piece of paper that you again take out once in a while and read it. And this paper is quoting from Genesis chapter 18, verse 27, where Abraham says, Anochi afar va'efer, I am but dust and ashes. We have to keep both passages in mind. And if we do, our self-esteem will be kept in check, and our self-esteem will be healthy.